Migrating your workflow from V1 to V2 in BuildShip. In V2, we offer tons of features and improvements and enhancements that will make the process of building your workflow on BuildShip a breeze. Full list of features and enhancements is available in the link below. But for now, let's get started. The biggest difference in V1 and V2 is the way the workflows are structured from the start to end. Now, every workflow on V1 used to begin with a trigger directly, and then you jump right into the workflow. Versus in V2, we have the ability for you to test your entire workflow from input to output properly and thoroughly before you connect your trigger if you choose to. So let's use this handy button here to migrate this workflow into a V2 workflow. What this does is it creates a copy of the workflow. So you still have your V1 workflow here if you want. But in this new workflow, you have a few new things to go over. So let's see that. First, you see this section here where you can connect to your triggers. The good thing is in V2 workflow, you can connect to more than one trigger by going to the connect section here and connecting your triggers. Now, let's say if I connect an API trigger, I can go here, click connect, and it create the URL just like in V1. The biggest difference here is that now using this URL, you can start sending your workflow inputs and get the data and listen to that data before you start building your workflow. What this means is you can listen for the workflows and create the inputs, or you can create them manually. For example, let me say type as one of the input parameters. It's coming from the body type. Now, if you had like a long list of JSON, you can pick and choose which input parameters that you want to pass on to the workflow here. Now, you can add more inputs as well. And let's just leave it as this one input for now. Going back to the build, you see that there are few red boxes. This is what you need to take care of after you migrate. Make sure you fix all the errors. Now you have connected to your trigger. You have one input that is coming from your trigger. And this condition previously used to be a variable that is not valid anymore. So let me change this to one of the input variables of type and make this some number that I'm checking against. And let me say I am fixing this as well to say that, okay, my input type is what I want to print in the message. And if this is successful, I can pass the return to be the last node or a custom output. Now, if I say custom output, I can say something like this or pass a value. So you can just go through your workflow once to make sure it's fully configured correctly. And here I have another custom node, for example, let me say fail. The good thing is you can test just your workflow from input to output by giving it a sample example. Let me say 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should take this side of the flow and print output the success. If I change this to this, it should go to this side of the flow and print the output to be fail. As simple as that. Now, a few things to keep in mind is that you connected your trigger. You can connect to more triggers if you choose. You can make sure you have inputs and make sure your inputs are being used in your workflow wherever there's a red box and reconnect as needed. Once you have done this, go ahead and ship this workflow so that it's up and running. You can also make sure this updated API URL is used in any application that you have connected it with. And then the third thing to make sure is you also have a copy of this really if you really want to. And here you have a handy indicator of the workflow being live. So these are some of the improvements in V2. Give this a try. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach us through the in-app support to raise any issues or questions and we will help you out. Thank you.